Present.
Shall we pray? O God of all creation, we come before you today with this great excitement and joy concerning the graduation of this 55th recruit school class. These recruits have worked hard and have been pushed to the limits in an effort to prepare them for the work that lies ahead. And now, they have arrived at the moment they have dreamed about and longed for, that of being an Indiana State Trooper. We pray, O God, that these young men, as they prepare to go to their respective assignments, that you would watch over them and protect them as they answer the call to serve the people of Indiana. As they serve the people of this state, may you grant them wisdom, understanding, and patience in all that is before them. May you help them to do the job of an Indiana State Trooper with integrity, service, and professionalism. Oh God, we ask that you would also be with the families of these young men, for this is a time of great transition, uncertainty, and even high anxiety, because they do not know what the future holds or where it will lead them. Grant to these families your patience, your peace, and a great amount of understanding as they go through this period of change in their lives. Oh God, may you add your blessing upon this ceremony today, to the Superintendent Melvin Caraway and his staff, to U.S. Attorney Judith Stewart as she brings the keynote address, and to all these special friends and family members of the State Police family. Watch over this ceremony this day, O Lord, and may your blessings be upon these troopers as they take their oath of office. May they do so with integrity and honesty. For we pray in your Son's holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. U.S. Attorney Judith A. Stewart, Associate Justice Frank Sullivan Jr., Superintendent Melvin Caraway, State Police Board President George Gardner, Secretary James Heide, other board members, executive staff, Academy Director Charles Birch, distinguished guests, fellow officers, families, and friends, I present to you the 55th recruit class of the Indiana State Police. During the past 21 weeks, the members of this class excelled academically and physically with integrity, service, and professionalism. They have worked diligently to uphold the standards of excellence expected of them by receiving hundreds of hours of instruction designed to prepare them for their next training phase as probationary officers. All families and friends should be proud of their accomplishments and professionalism just as we are.
Ready?
It is now my privilege to introduce to you the Superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Melvin J. Carraway. Melvin J. Carraway was born August 17, 1953. He studied at Heidelberg College in Tiffin, Ohio, receiving a bachelor's degree in music. He served in the U.S. Army as an interrogator from 1976 through 1979. He's a graduate of the FBI National Academy. From 1979 to 1983, he worked as a trooper at the Indianapolis District. In 1983, he was promoted to sergeant in the training division. In September of 1985, he was promoted to the rank of first sergeant, transferred to the enforcement division. In September of '86, he was promoted to lieutenant as commander of the aviation section within the enforcement division. In 1989, he further progressed through the ranks as captain in the enforcement division and was eventually promoted to major in the enforcement division in 1989. In September of 1974, he was appointed executive director of the State Emergency Management Agency by former Governor Evan Bayh. On January 13, 1997, Melvin J. Carraway was appointed superintendent of the Indiana State Police by Governor Frank O'Bannon. Ladies and gentlemen, Superintendent Carraway.
Thank you very much. To my contemporaries, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in those years. It just didn't happen like that. I'm very honored to be here today. Before I get started, I want to introduce a couple of very important individuals that are here today to share with us this important moment for all of you. With us are other board members who are not up on the platform here today with us. Mr. Robert McConnell, Mr. Patrick Bennett, and Gwendolyn Morgan, also board members, as well as Mr. Gardner and Mr. Heidi, who are on the panel with us here today. Also in the audience is Senator Tom Weiss, another good friend of Indiana State Police and law enforcement in general, is here to share with us this moment. Now, if I can address the new officers. Today, all of you are going to embark on a journey. This journey just doesn't end once you get your car, once you're at your district. It's a journey that continues over a lifetime because of this career that you've selected. This journey is going to be filled with excitement, wonder, and sometimes a bit of frustration, because that is the nature of law enforcement. The landscape for law enforcement is changing even as we speak. This landscape that is filled with crimes that occur, that we perpetuate on one another, the good and the bad. It's a landscape where the young commit violent crimes. It's a landscape where the old even can be victimized. This landscape that's ever changing here in front of us, you have a responsibility to make certain it does not turn into chaos and mayhem. Because all around us, things are happening. Technology is changing before we speak. It's this landscape of cellular phones, digital transmissions, portable computers, rapid access to information, and we in law enforcement have to be ready to accept those challenges and those changes. The idea that all of this is revolutionizing our life in a moment's notice. Society is obviously dealing with this stress of this change, and then we yet have to go home and sit and have a decent conversation with our family and our friends. You can pick up any newspaper today, any newspaper in any community, large and small. The headline, some enormous crime that's affecting our cities and our towns. And somewhere in there, in that message, is what law enforcement's solution, response, our attitude to make certain it never happens again. An enormous responsibility for us to deal with. For all the men and women who take these careers in law enforcement, whether you're in a uniform and you're driving a car, whether you're in suit and tie, whether you're in a white coat in a laboratory, we all take serious this responsibility of protecting and serving. I offer to you today to accept a challenge to take this journey, that you just don't stop growing, that you just don't be satisfied with this change of the landscape, this change that's happening rapidly around us. It will be our business to serve the citizens of the state of Indiana, because that's what they deserve, the very best in service, the very best in integrity, the very best in professionalism. So today, you start a journey. I hope that it continues to be filled with excitement, challenges, and that the pain is lessened. Thanks to your parents and your spouses and your friends for being here today as well, because I know for all of them this has been a journey, a labor of love for them as well. So I'm very happy for all of you being here today. One of our speaker for today is a very good friend of law enforcement as well. Ms. Judith Stewart is the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District. She was appointed by President Clinton and confirmed by the Senate in 1993. She assumed her duties here in October 25th of 1993. Prior to her appointment, she was, among things, the judge of Brown County Circuit Court from January 91 to 93. She graduated from Butler University here in Indianapolis, and she has served as executive director of the Indiana Law Review. Without further ado, let me introduce to you Ms. Judith Stewart. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Well, congratulations, you made it. And I want to say congratulations to the families, too. The support that you provide is crucial. The sacrifices that you have already made and that you will continue to make throughout their careers are numerous. But to the 37 graduating officers, I just want to say that you should be very, very proud. It is an honor to be any part of law enforcement, But to have been accepted into and graduated from this academy is a particular honor. It is one of the most difficult, and it produces some of our finest officers. Not that many people ever are in the position that you are right now, and you should be very, very proud of the hard work that got you here. This is an accomplishment that you will be able to hold on to for the rest of your lives. And I hope that you will remember this graduation day. I hope you remember how you feel today. I hope that it serves as a reminder to you of the perseverance that it took to get here, of the sense of excitement and expectation, the sense of accomplishment, the sense of purpose and camaraderie. But I also hope that you will remember this graduation as a reminder of the responsibility, the tremendous responsibility that accompanies the career you have chosen. Every day you serve as a state trooper. You represent the entire Indiana State Police. And every day that you serve as a state trooper, you owe a duty of honesty, of integrity to the state police, to the citizens that you serve, and to the career that you have chosen. A career which I believe is truly a noble one, and which bestows on you some of the most important rights and responsibilities that our society has to offer. The significance of being a trooper cannot be overemphasized. You will face challenges, difficulties, opportunities that most people never have the opportunity to do. Some of those are dangerous. You will be placed in dangerous situations. You will be placed in life-threatening situations where you have to make judgments in split seconds. You will be placed in situations where you're dealing with people who are angry, they're violent, they're irrational, they're high, they're belligerent, and you are the one who has to be in control. Control of that situation, control of your emotions. You do not have the luxury of losing your temper. You do not have the luxury of responding in kind to some of the treatment that sometimes comes your way. People count on you for that. They count on you for protection, they count on you for safety, and they count on you to maintain that control. Ours is a country and a society of laws. One of the very enjoyable things that I get to do as U.S. Attorney is I get to attend naturalization ceremonies where immigrants who have been naturalized are actually becoming citizens of this country. And if you haven't had a chance to do that, I hope that you get that opportunity sometime. It is a very moving, emotional experience. To be able to see and hear the pride that those people have, the pride that they have in becoming citizens of this country, that they have chosen this country, and to hear sometimes the tales of oppression that they tell, where they come from. One of the main reasons that our country remains one of so many freedoms, of so much opportunity that draws people like that to this country is because we are, in fact, a country of laws, not of rulers, not of dictators, but of laws. And that will remain so only as long as those laws are upheld and enforced in a professional, fair, and just manner. You are on the front line of that enforcement. You are, to most people, the representatives of our entire justice system. Most people don't come in contact with me. Most people don't come in contact with judges, with other prosecutors. But many, many people come in contact with you. You are a very, very visible representative of our justice system. And the way you treat people, the way you interact with them, the impression that you leave them with, helps shape their whole image of our justice system. It helps them decide whether it's fair or it's not. You have a tremendous responsibility and a tremendous opportunity to shape their impressions of our justice system. Your conduct, I hope you keep in mind, doesn't have to be on the extremes to leave a lasting impression with people. We all know, we can all recognize that if an officer has to actually risk his or her life to save someone else's, we can all see that, the impact. That's one of the extremes, that true act of heroism. Likewise, we all know the devastating impact on law enforcement that it has if you see something like recently occurred in New York. But most of what you will come in contact with is somewhere in the middle of that spectrum, the daily interaction that you have with people. And that does not have to be extreme to leave an impression. I want to give you an example. This is two things that happened in very close proximity to me several years ago. One of them, I was at an ATM machine. It was after hours. It was dark. The parking lot was deserted. And I went to the ATM machine. I couldn't get any money out. I think I didn't know what my balance was. This was years ago. And there were two police officers in that parking lot. As I walked away from the ATM machine, they called me over. They said they had run my plates. They confirmed my name, my address. They asked my phone number. I asked if there was any problem, explained that I thought they were afraid I was ripping off the ATM machine or something. Explained to them what I was doing. But they didn't let me leave. Every time I would start to leave, they would call me back. They were laughing between themselves. It really frightened me. I didn't know what to do. Their conduct was not what I had in my mind as police officers. And I will never forget that because it left a negative impression. But likewise, just a couple weeks after that, I was driving home from my sister's in Owen County, and I was out on the roads. It was at night, and I was pulled over by a state trooper. I had a headlight out. So they pulled me over. And the way that officer treated me, it was with respect, it was with professionalism, and that image has always stayed with me as well. And to date, when I hear someone reference the state police, and it's not in a particular context that I'm thinking of, my immediate reaction to that is that officer that pulled me over, that officer who was polite and respectful and professional. And that is the kind of impact that you can have on people. You can shape their entire view of the state police by just a minimal contact that you have. It does not have to be extreme. Beyond that, as an officer, you have a very immediate responsibility to your community. You have a very large impact on your community, and I would encourage all of you to be very involved in your communities and to embrace the principles of community policing. We all deal with a lot of different attitudes in trying to do our jobs, and when you're working with people who have faith in law enforcement, who view you as someone who is there to protect and to serve, they're relatively easy to work with. But as you all know, we also work with people who, for whatever reason, sometimes justified, sometimes not justified, have a very deep, innate distrust of law enforcement. And we have to work with them as well. They're afraid to cooperate with law enforcement. There's no faith there. The best way to overcome that is to get to know those people and let them get to know you. If they know you, if they see you standing up for the right things, then they have a basis for trusting you. They have a basis for working with you, and you have a basis for working with them. I would strongly, strongly encourage you to be involved in your communities. The youth in your community, we all see youth who grow up without good role models, who grow up with very little hope. As a trooper, as a law enforcement officer, you have the opportunity to be the role model for that young person. You heard Superintendent Caraway reference the violence among youth. We all know how the increase in violence in youth occurs, how it's being committed by younger and younger people. You can serve as a role model to those people. You can let those children know that it is possible for them to do something good with their life. You can let them know what they can do. And I suggest to you that you have a responsibility to serve as that role model and to help in your communities. I would also hope that you will recognize the impact and the impression that you make on the victims with whom you come into contact. Whether it's a victim of crime, whether it's an auto accident victim, those people are seeing you at a time when their life is in turmoil. Their whole sense of order is topsy-turvy. They are emotional, they are upset, and the way you treat them at that moment can have a lasting impact that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. Again, I want to give you an example of a contrast of just how much difference you can make in those people's lives. This was a case with which I was involved before I came into the federal system. It was in the state system, and I became aware of it. A woman had had someone break into her home. She had been stabbed and raped, and she talked about two different officers that she dealt with that first night, the night of the incident. One of the officers came there at the home. She was seated. That officer knelt down so that he was at her level. He talked with her respectfully. He apologized for the intimate nature of some of the questions, and she was able to relay to him everything that she remembered about the incident. She then described another officer who was at the hospital that night. One of the stab wounds had punctured a lung, and the woman was taken to the hospital. And she described that second officer who stood back against the wall with his arms folded, leaned back, and said, well, it was just a little knife. And it had been. It had been more like the size of a pocket knife, apparently, but big enough to puncture one of the lungs and certainly large enough to have caused damage. In response to that, in response to seeing someone who is in a position of authority and a law enforcement officer make a comment like that, her reaction, of course, was not to be able to give any further information. In fact, what she did, she put her head in her hands and could say nothing except, "I'm sorry," over and over and over again. That's not how you're going to be able to work a case. The difference that those two officers had on her stayed with her after that, and she will always remember the positive one of the first and the negative of the second. That is the kind of power that you have when you are dealing with people, and I hope that you will always remember that and remember the responsibility that goes with that type of power. When I look at the talent and the dedication here before me, I think if I could give one word of advice or one piece of advice, it would be to make the most of the opportunity that you have now before you. You have a chance to do some of the most fulfilling work that there is. The intensity of it, the opportunity to truly have an impact, to do some good, you have a chance that most people don't have. Please take advantage of that. Never take it for granted. Always remember the duty that you owe to the police and to the people you serve. But also remember that with that comes a lot of stress. And try to keep a balance. Have some fun. Whatever it is that you enjoy, hold on to that. Whether it's athletics or arts or playing with your children, spending time with your families, whatever it is that you enjoy, hold on to it and balance it. Keep that at your center and your core so that you can do your jobs better. In conclusion, I just want to say congratulations and thank you. Congratulations for reaching the point that you have now. Thank you not only for letting me be a part of this ceremony, but mostly for being the kind of troopers that I know you will be. I know that you will make yourselves, your family, the state of Indiana, and this country very proud of you. Congratulations.
To present the oath today is the Honorable Frank Sullivan, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, who was appointed, sworn in by Governor Evan Bayh November 1 of 1993. Justice Sullivan came to the Supreme Court with a background in government service, including 4 years as Indiana State Budget Director, and his practice in private law. Born and raised in South Bend, Justice Sullivan graduated from Dartmouth College and from the Indiana University School of Law in Bloomington. It is with great honor that I present to you the Honorable Frank Sullivan.
Thank you, Superintendent Caraway. Members of the 55th Indiana State Police recruit class, please stand. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
That I will support, protect, and defend.
That I will support, protect, and defend.
The Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
The Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
And the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana.
And the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
And that I will faithfully and justly discharge the duties.
And I will faithfully and justly discharge the duties.
Of an employee of the Indiana State Police Department.
Of an employee of the Indiana State Police Department.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Be seated. As former member of the training staff, probably one of the most memorable experiences that came along with being a part of the staff is watching the growth of the cadets as they go through the process. You'll hear a lot of back when I was in recruit school, and yeah, cars had 4 tires at that time, but you hear a lot of stories like that. But the most memorable time that any of us recall is that of sitting next to your classmate, all stressed out about tests, all stressed out about firearms, stressed out about the driving school, and just literally stressed out. But just going through that created a cohesiveness that knowing that someone else had that fear and that you were huddled there together, and that gave you encouragement to try harder, that in turn became infectious to the next individual and the next individual. And that as counselors and administrators of the training staff began to bond and feel for each and every one of you. So that's why I'm really happy to stand here today after I've gone through that process to give out an award to I guess a new officer at this point. It's called the Superintendent's Award. It's based on all those things: academics, firearms, emergency driving, defensive tactics, physical training, and merit. The staff put together all the numbers and compared them, and the recipient with a score of 960 out of 1,000 to receive the Superintendent's Award, Jason Sample. Now I'd like to introduce to you David Benjamin from the staff.
Thank you, Superintendent. It's with great pleasure and honor that I'm able to make this next presentation for the Firearms Proficiency Award. The Firearms Proficiency Award goes to that student in the 55th recruit class who had the highest overall average with our department-issued firearms. This year's winner with average scores of 94.6% with the 9mm handgun, 96.6% with the .380 handgun, and 100% with the issued shotgun is Chad Sherwood.
We will now present the members of the class with their Indiana State Police badges, identifications, and oaths of office. If you would like to take photographs, we will be taking photographs, but please do not block the procession in front of the podium area, please. Floyd D. Archie. Gregory D. Ashby. Kevin W. Brown. Mark A. Bumbalo. Matthew W. Busick. Jason E. Cobb. Troy A. Cobb. Matthew R. Collins. Timothy A. Cummins. John M. Deere II. His badge will be presented by his father, retired Master Trooper John Deere from the Jasper District. Gregory A. Dunkel. Anthony D. Emery. Glenn E. Fifield. Adam R. Fisher. His badge will be presented by his father, Corporal Shane Fisher of the Red Key District. Robert A. Gardner II. His badge will be presented by his father, Calvin Gardner, telecommunications specialist at the Bloomington District. Russell D. Garrison. Peter J. Glagoza. William F. Hannon. His badge will be presented by his brothers, Tom Hannon from Terre Haute District and Sean Hannon from Sellersburg District. James W. Hotchkiss. Willis F. Hughes. Bill E. Hutton. Mile Kanisevich. Robert J. Latiker. Matthew Matthew E. Lawrence. Jason A. Legenfelter. Philip A. McBride. Gerald S. Mahalik. Mark A. Raper. Jason E. Sample. Chad M. Sherwood. Brian R. Snyder. Donald J. White. Joseph L. White. David V. Whitinger. William J. Wibbles, Jr. Trevor L. Wiggum. James D. Zeezer. The class will now participate in the ceremony by having a representative duly elected by the class to address the 55th Recruit Academy. Trooper Wibbles.
The creation of the Indiana State Police Department in 1933 began the history of an agency steeped in tradition, an agency that will accept nothing less than the best from its people, and who will accept nothing less than the best people. In its history, 34 troopers have given their lives in the line of duty. From Trooper Eugene Teague to Trooper Andrew Winsenreed, these troopers gave their best and paid the ultimate price. As has been said many times before, to predict the future, one must look at our past. And our past speaks loudly of our success for the future. The job of an Indiana State Trooper is a difficult one. It is a job that requires an officer to have the patience of Job, the wisdom of Solomon, and the tact of a diplomat. It is a job that requires the skills of a counselor, the bravery of a warrior. It is a job that requires you to perform at your best when you may feel at your worst. It is not like other careers where you contemplate making a business deal, but is it a career where you must contemplate survival. Integrity, service, professionalism. 5 short months ago, on the chilly morning of March 31st, we heard those words for the first time. Those 3 words were just that, words. Words with no special meaning to me or the other new troopers sitting here today. Now today, August 22nd, those 3 words have a much deeper and more significant meaning to us. Integrity, doing what is right even when no one is watching. Service, from helping a stranded motorist along the interstate to gently telling a family that a loved one has passed away. Professionalism, conducting ourselves in such a manner so that Ben Franklin said, if anyone should ask or speak ill of us, no one would believe it. Superintendent Caraway, I present to you these new troopers from the metropolitan and the rural areas of the state. New troopers that are willing and ready to follow you into service to Lowell or Evansville or anywhere in between. Members of the 55th, I challenge you to go out and to do your best, to strive for the top, and most of all, to dignify this uniform and the agency that has so proudly served Indiana for 64 years. In closing, I would like to quote President Theodore Roosevelt. This is a quote that embodies integrity and service, professionalism, a code we have lived by for the last 21 weeks, and a code we pledge to live by in the future. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, and who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievements, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. I would like to say on behalf of the new troopers sitting here today that we are proud of our heritage, proud of what we have become, proud of what we will be, and proud of the Indiana State Police. Thank you.
Thank you, Trooper Wibbles. Would now like to take this opportunity to recognize our recruit school staff that have been with these people the past 21 weeks. If you'd please stand. Sergeant Dave Benjamin, Sergeant Gary Dudley, and Sergeant Joe Wiley. Also the counselors, Trooper Susan Dean, Trooper Herb Fitzgerald, and Senior Trooper Ken Havens. Thank you, I know from myself as well as the staff and the superintendent, and I'm sure thank you from the class for the past 21 week of efforts that you put in with these young people. Thank you very much. I'd also like to take the opportunity to again thank our superintendent and our speakers, the Chief and the Justice, everyone who attended today, board members, executive staff, families and friends. Be proud of these young people as we are proud of all of them. I'll now call Reverend Dodd forward for the benediction. Reverend Dodd.
parents, moms and dads, grandmas, grandpas, everyone here, and spouses, you can be very proud of these young men for what they have accomplished and for what they will be about now as an Indiana State Trooper. They have been called to a special task, and I'm sure that they will bring the department and the state honor and dignity to carry on the tradition that has long been honored here within this department. God's blessings be with you. Shall we stand? O Lord, as we prepare to depart from this place, may you never depart from the lives of these young troopers and their families. May you ever watch over them during their time on duty and protect them so that they will be able to return home safely to their loved ones. To these who have gathered, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace, both now and forevermore. Amen.
In closing, you should be proud of the accomplishments of these new troopers. With your support, they will fulfill their potential for a long and fulfilling career with the Indiana State Police Department. And remember, as police officers, we hope to uphold the noble tradition of this profession and department as a calling for each one of us toward commitment to integrity, service, and professionalism. Thank you for attending the graduation ceremony. Families and friends may meet the new troopers at the north end of the rotunda. Please remain standing now for the withdrawal of the colors and the class.
Academy, start. Color guard. Retreat.